All right, got to do a follow-up from the last video. Remember, these were the headlines. Trump says Iran war will end, quote, very soon, okay? Predicts lower oil prices. And I remember when I saw this, I'm just scratching my head like, what the heck are we talking about? And they had a great comment from our community. This is from our community. They say, how do you interpret Trump? You don't. He's blowing smoke. Nothing he says makes any sense. And when it sort of does, it's most likely a gross over-exaggeration, otherwise known as a lie. And that is a very good comment. And I always say, guys, all the time, we got the best community on the internet. I mean, check it out all the time. Read through comments. You'll see it's a collection of just a lot of really great insight and different points of view. And this is actually a really good way to read Trump. You don't. He's blowing smoke. The markets are actually moving on this crazy tweet. How do I explain it? Trump has a phone call with CBS. The CBS reporter then tweets out the contents of the call. Then the markets move. And the headline then was, Trump says the war is ending very soon. We're like, okay, what's going on? And then conference in a couple hours, which he just had. We'll go over a minute here. But the markets did move, right? What a day. Oil almost hit $120, then fell to $80, now at $90. I have never seen anything like this. This is completely crazy. It's like we're living in a Twilight Zone episode. We really are, right? You must understand who's the Minister of War. The great Pete Hegseth. He's getting a boner every time there is a boom. I have thought this for over a year, meaning we're in the Twilight Zone. Someone says, yeah, a specific episode, the one with Dennis Hopper in it. This is where we're at. It is so whacked out. Another person in our community, we're talking about the shoes that Trump was apparently having everyone wear. We talk about that. I mean, seriously, we are talking about shoes. And many of you were saying they got to have listening devices in said shoes. You never know. I'll just say this. You never know with the Trump people. What I will say, regardless of the tomfoolery, however you want to call this stuff, watch the price of oil. I mean, I think that is going to be a key indicator of what's happening. And at the moment, we are under $100. Remember, we were nearly 120. Now we're under 100. So about 87 WTI, Brent crude 98 as of recording. But this is extremely volatile. Trump could be on his toilet at 3 a.m. and tweet something and the oil will move again. It's crazy. And someone says, this is Chris, I have not seen anything close to this price swings for a barrel of oil. And I was born in 1972. So he has anything like, he's a little bit older than me. The swings in the market reflected comments made by the Trump regime. But to me, it also shows how in bed the Trump regime and business leaders are, and the enemy of the common man is the Epstein class, and the Epstein class sticks together. It just reinforces my hate for corporate America. So that's sort of what people are saying. He hasn't seen anything like it. I haven't seen anything like it. If you guys have seen anything like this before, please let me know. But we just could just be in this crazy, whacked out, social media market era. Okay, listen to this. This is Trump talking about the end of the war.
Yeah, please.
Thank you. Mr. President, you've said the war is, quote, very complete, but your defense secretary says this is just the beginning. So which is it, and how long should Americans be prepared
Well, I think
for
you could
this war
say
to
it
last
both.
for?
It's the beginning. It's the beginning of building a new country, but they have no Navy, they have no Air Force, they have no anti-aircraft equipment. It's all been blown up. They have no radar, they have no telecommunications, and they have no leadership.
So according to Trump, when asked, is this the end of the war, you could say both. It doesn't make any sense. And I just go back to the first comment. He's just blowing smoke. I guess don't try to interpret what that means. But I'm just showing you guys, like, this is the follow-up to the tweets trying to say that the war is coming to an end. This is from Iran. What do they say? They say here, as emphasized previously, Iran is not merely defending itself against this brutal war of aggression. Is defending the very principles of sovereignty and self-determination, the future of our region, and the broader interests of the global community, again, coming from Iran. This is a truly global issue that concerns independence, sovereignty, respect for national norms, and equitable access to energy resources. It should alarm everyone, our neighbors in the region, our partners in the global south, regional organizations, and people around the world, to the reality that our struggle is also theirs, for sovereignty, for freedom, for energy justice, and for law-based international order free from domination by bullying power politics. And that's referring to Karen Levitt, who is tweeting out, Operation Epic Fury proves it is both America first and proudly MAGA. And so then while Iran is tweeting out at Karen Levitt, you have Putin and Trump taking phone calls, right? Putin and Trump discussed Iran in first phone call this year. I was looking at this, and I guess they talked for an hour, and this was a description of the call. The talks, which lasted about an hour, were constructive and businesslike. Again, Trump and Putin are talking. Quote, will undoubtedly have practical significance for the further work of the two countries in various areas of international politics. I guess that's coming from the Kremlin. You make of that as what you will. And this is Trump then talking about the call that he had with Putin.
I had a very good call with President Putin. We had a lot of people on the line from our side, from his side. We were talking about Ukraine, which is just a never-ending fight. And look, there's tremendous hatred between President Putin and President Zelensky. They can't seem to get it together. But I think it was a positive call on that subject. And we obviously talked then about the Middle East. And he wants to be helpful. I said, you could be more helpful by getting the Ukraine-Russia war over with. That would be more helpful. But we had a very good talk, and he wants to be very constructive.
So the thing about Trump, whenever he talks about Putin, he never says anything bad about Putin. I mean, you can see it. You guys know how Trump talks. He'll, when he talks about other people, he'll call them names. He'll have nicknames or, swear or whatever. But Putin, he's like always kind of bowing and being polite. This is something that you always wonder, does Putin have something on Trump? You always wonder that. Like, what is the deal with this dude? And this has been something going on for years. I'm just showing you what it is. And I'm always curious, the MAGA people, like, literally faced with reality. I mean, how do you feel when, like, Trump's on his knee pads to Putin all the time? I mean, you can see it right there. It's insane. Because if Trump was really as strong, business person as he claims he is, he'd be like, just tell Putin, end the war, right? But it's never like that. That's how he talks about Putin here.
Oh, I don't want to brag, but, they've said this about a lot of things. No other president could do some of the shit I'm doing. No other president. The things I'm doing, nobody else was going to do it. They say it all the time, sir, could you do this? You're the only one can do it.
And you guys can see it there, right? There's a clear contrast. That's how Trump talks sometimes, right? Right, that kind of, wolf, doggy kind of talk, or whatever you want to call it. And then whenever he talks about Putin, he's like kind of like a little boy bowing to the boss. It's a very, very obvious contrast. He'll be combative with many, many people except for Putin. That's the only one he seems to bow down to, and I guess he likes Kim Jong-un in North Korea as well. And then you also have this story. A video appears to show U.S. cruise missiles striking Iranian school compound, and we're talking about the Tomahawk missile. Trump tries to answer questions regarding this, right? Basically, did the U.S. strike the girls' school and kill students?
Iranian girls' school. So will the U.S. accept any responsibility?
Well, I haven't seen it. And I will say that the Tomahawk, which is one of the most powerful weapons around, is used by, is sold and used by other countries, that. And whether it's Iran, who also has some Tomahawks, I wish they had more. But whether it's Iran or somebody else, the fact that a Tomahawk is very generic. It's sold to other countries. But that's being investigated right now.
So he tries to make the case that Iran has Tomahawks. There seems to be no credible evidence of that, just to be clear. So basically he's just making stuff up. And he's even asked a question about, why are you making stuff up? Listen to this.
You just suggested that Iran somehow got its hands on a Tomahawk and bombed its own elementary school on the first day of the war. But you're the only person in your government saying this. Even your defense secretary wouldn't say that when he was asked, standing over your shoulder on your plane on Saturday. Why are you the only person saying this?
Because I just don't know enough about it. I think it's something that I was told is under investigation. But Tomahawks are used by others, as you know. Numerous other nations have Tomahawks. They buy them from us. But I will certainly, whatever the report shows, I'm willing to live with that report.
Right. So then the question is basically, why are you a liar? Right? Other people aren't lying about this. Why are you lying about it? And when I was watching this press conference a bit, it just made me think about how difficult it is to live in our timeline, to where basically you have a delusional, dimensional person at the top, right? And it's not just him, it's all the people in his administration that bow to him. And the best way to describe it is like, if you've ever, been with someone who just constantly lies about everything, like just even the smallest things. Hey, what do you want to eat? And they say, I want a hamburger. So you order them a hamburger and you bring them the hamburger and they get like really angry and upset. Like, why'd you bring me a hamburger? I said hot dog. And you're just like, wait, what? And then you may even, recorded them and showed them the tape. See, here's the tape where you said hamburger. And it's like, no, that tape's a lie. It's all lies. Like, that's essentially what we're dealing with here, is just liars, complete delusional, gaslighting, etc. And we make jokes and stuff like that, but I always just want to make it clear this stuff is very serious. We bombed a school. That's what it sounds like, right? And that's what the report's coming in. And yeah, you should do a full investigation and be honest about this stuff.
The Navy is gone. It's all lying at the bottom of the ocean. 46 ships. Can you believe it? In fact, I got a little upset with our people. I said, what quality of ship? Excellent, sir. Top of the line. I said, why did we just capture the ship? We could have used it. Why did we sink them? They said, it's more fun to sink them. I said, they like sinking them better. They say it's safer to sink them. I guess it's probably true. But
and it's important for you to see this. This is how he thinks about people's lives. This is how he thinks about, again, we're talking about sinking ships here. We're talking about bombing schools. And it's all a joke to them. He was also asked, basically, how many more American deaths will there be? This is his response.
With the war in Iran, how many American deaths are you willing to have in this war?
Well, as I said before, when you have conflicts like this, you always have death. And I was at Dover yesterday. I met the parents, and they were unbelievable people. They were unbelievable people, but they all had one thing in common. They said to me one thing, every single one: finish the job, sir. Please finish the job. And I'll leave you at that. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
And then he runs away. And so how do you read this stuff, right? The question was, how many American deaths are you willing to have in this war? And he's just like, this is his answer. Well, as I said before, when you have conflicts like this, you always have death. And the most important thing to think about when we talk about this stuff is, if these people really believed in the stuff they were doing, they would send their kids first, right? Send Barron, send Donnie, send Eric, right? Send your grandkids, right? Send your kids first. If this is like so important, and if you're not willing to send your kids, why are you willing to send other people's kids? And this is what's sick about the mega people who follow Trump, is you're basically just being sacrificed to the glory of Trump. And he laughs about this stuff. He wastes taxpayers' money. They run their grift. It's obvious. It should be obvious to anyone watching this stuff, and just have honest conversations about these things. It's hard when you live in a world to where people bow down to the delusional things that Trump say. It's basically where the emperor has no clothes timeline, essentially. And that's why it's important to have critical thinking and learn about this stuff, and not get gaslight by these things. So that's my thoughts on this. I'd like to hear yours. Thank you for your time, everyone. And I always appreciate our community. And I'll catch you all in the next video.